It's your girl, Kid Cactus, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. Is that good? Okay. By the way, guys, Bungie unveiled this is going to be a massive 8,000 word TWID, so go get comfortable, get a drink, get a snack. We're going to be here for a while. Alright, so first things first, what's been going on this week for Destiny 2? Well, on the Tuesday weekly reset, in-game, there's a continuation of the Rite of the Nine. You can now get nonary engrams, which is going to give you older cosmetics if you want at the emissary, but much bigger than that, outside of the game, Bungie hosted their second developer livestream for the Edge of Fate. This time, they showed off the new Kepler destination, talked more about it, talked about how it's getting world tiers and stuff like that, and then they talked a lot about the portal and the new leveling system. Truly some monumental changes here going into how you're playing Destiny 2. I think that's one of the biggest things that players maybe aren't understanding is like, when you log on in the Edge of Fate, it's going to be a different game. Like, there are so many fundamental changes to the base gameplay loop now that it's going to be crazy. Now, some people are looking at this as a very negative thing. They don't like it. Some people are very excited for, some stuff to be finally mixed up within the game. So if you want to get a full recap, I already did a video linked right up above. But moving on from there, guys, we get to yesterday. And we got even more Edge of Fate information. So Bungie dropped a new Developer Insights article discussing weapons and the differences between the 5 tiers, as well as revealing all of the new seasonal weapon mods coming within the Edge of Fate. On top of that, they were very active on Twitter or X, revealing new armor sets as well as ornaments and cosmetics coming also in the Edge of Fate. So did a recap video on that, linked right up above. And that brings us to today and the brand new information within the TWID. So, first of all, Bungie recaps exactly what I recapped, and then they talk about the Rite of the Nine final update, saying, do you remember Daybreak? Yeah, the old school modifier where your abilities recharge like crazy. How fun would it be to turn it on for the Explore mode version of the Rite of the Nine dungeons for this week? Because that's happening right now. So yeah, you can easily breeze through Explore mode of Rite of the Nine thanks to Daybreak. Now, only for Explore mode, that's not going to be dropping adepts or anything like that, but definitely good to know. They also say, additionally, in preparation for the Edge of Fate, 2 servants of the Nine are bringing gifts to Guardians. Both Xur and the Emissary will have desirable exotics that will be part of the featured gear on day 1 of the new expansion. Bring your strange coins and nonary manifolds and snag some loot. Very interesting there. So by featured gear, what they're saying is that there's going to be like a new gear bonus coming in the Edge of Fate. Very controversial feature, but for exotics, you just have a bunch of featured exotics, so you're not pigeonholed into using only the new exotics. And so, yeah, Xur's gonna sell guaranteed featured exotics that will get that new gear bonus. So make sure you have notifications turned on for tomorrow's Xur video because it could be a wild one. Now, on top of that, they also give this reminder of the final schedule over the next 2 weeks, guys. And then we have a new challenge appears. So they say we also have one last Rite of the Nine dungeon hurrah before we dive into our new expansion. The team at Destiny Tracker are running 2 weekends of challenges around Prophecy and Spire of the Watcher to wrap it up. And you can see the information right here where you can run it fast and get some rewards. We have some Star Horse statues right here, as well as, hey, you can win a gaming PC, which is pretty darn sick, guys. Now, obviously, sign up and everything is in the TWAB, which is linked in the description of this video. They also have the world's first raid race is back. Speaking of competition, so they say Guardians, we have a new raid ready for July 19th. Now that's the Saturday, guys. And you know what that means. There will be a new world first race where the most capable teams around the globe will conquer contest mode difficulty and fight to be the first team to complete the raid. We're excited to confirm that we have partnered once again with CB Gray and Evan F to bring you the raid race action live from Bungie HQ. They say, stay tuned for next week's TWID for more information on everything, including how to earn the powerful Hues emblem seen right here. I really hope they do a more sensible approach to the emblems. The last dungeon completion race was a mess where you could get one emblem up to a certain time and then it's carried over to earning another emblem. It was just so many people were unbelievably confused with what was going on there. So hopefully they've simplified it this time. Moving on from there, guys, they talk about Bungie at GCX. Here is all the information right here. And there's going to be the flight stick emblem that you can earn involving GCX, and you can see that right here. Now, moving on from there, guys, they also have a brief on Kepler, so going over intel. I'm just gonna leave it on screen if you want to read it, talking about they have the picture of the Corsairs, the new fallen enemy here, but let's get into the more gameplay centric changes, and that is going to be weapons tuning for the Edge of Fate, guys. Here we go. So in terms of archetypes, machine guns, they now have a staged reload. Now, this puts checkpoints in the reload animation. When a player cancels the reload animation and starts it again, it will resume from the latest checkpoint. So, if you're mid-reload and you have to melee a thrall right next to you, you don't have to start the entire animation over again. Like if you put the belt of ammo into the machine gun and you start racking it and then you have to do a melee, you're gonna start from the belt already being in, so you just have to rack it, right? It's gonna make it so that you're not so punished redoing that very long machine gun animation, guys. Moving on from there, for glaives, they've reduced projectile tracking strength at very close range to avoid a behavior that made projectiles less accurate. Then for perks, first of all, reconstruction. They've increased the amount of ammo transferred per activation from 10% to 25%, saying it was underperforming in non-rocket launcher weapons. All right, reconstruction is back on the menu, baby. Then you have paracausal affinity, added a visible timer to the buff. Then kinetic tremors. They say it feels good to use on faster firing weapon frames, but it can underperform on slow firing ones. So they've decreased shots to activate on certain weapons and subfamilies. High impact auto rifles require 9, down from 12. Aggressive and high impact scout rifles require 5, down from 6. Hand cannons have received specific tuning for subfamilies. Aggressives require 4, down from 6. Adaptives require 5, down from 6. Precisions are unchanged and still require 6 to activate. So, hey, if you got the Midnight Coup with kinetic tremors, it might be a lot better now. Then you have 1-2 punch, guys. This was covered in a previous TWID on melee changes. It now works with all melee abilities, and the perk time increased from 1.22 seconds to 3 seconds. Attrition orbs. It's currently too powerful on area denial grenade launchers, they say, so they've increased the perk progress by 20% across the board, but they've reduced it on 80% with area denial grenade launchers. This is surprisingly not as noticeable as it sounds. I kind of believe that. And they've increased the perk progress by an additional 30% on swords. So if you have attrition orbs anywhere other than area denials, you got a big buff. But yeah, the velocity baton got nerfed for sure. Then the Eager Edge and Valiant Charge. So while active, melee search angle is now reduced by 50% at the start of the lunge range and by 80% at the edge of the lunge range. This requires the player to look more at their target to strike it, improving specific target acquisition in PvE, requiring a more direct look in PvP. So I think this might actually help with not targeting an enemy completely just beside or almost behind you when you're trying to do an eager edge dart off and get some speed as well. Moving on from there, chain reaction. Threadlings created by weapon perks no longer activate the detonation from chain reaction. Ah, darn it. And then you've got chain reaction, dragonfly, and firefly. So all three of these, they say these perks can deal different amounts of damage to different targets based on the type of weapon that activates the perk. And they want perks to feel stronger on different weapon types for obvious reasons, such as how often a weapon gets precision kills rather than unintuitive ones. So, Chain Reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly no longer use weapon archetype scaling against combatants and instead use a new perk damage scaling that is more normalized between different weapon types. This buffs many weapons with these perks against most targets. Here's some of the biggest winners from this change. Fusion rifles deal 41% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants. Submachine guns deal 43% more dragonfly and firefly damage to minor combatants. Auto rifles deal 47% more dragonfly damage to minor combatants. Linear fusion rifles deal 165% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants and at least 124% more chain reaction to all other combatants, very slightly. Swords deal 123% more chain reaction damage to minor combatants and at least 193% more chain reaction damage to all other combatants. So basically, okay, weapons that aren't getting like one-shot headshots like auto rifles, submachine guns, that you actually have to work towards getting that precision kill, they're going to be significantly better with these types of perks. Now they say in the interest of transparency, we want to call out 3 instances where this change results in a nerf. Okay, here we go. Hand cannons deal 20% less dragonfly and firefly damage to major combatants, RIP. Sniper rifles deal 8% less firefly and dragonfly damage to minor combatants. Special ammo wave frame grenade launchers deal 6% less chain reaction damage to major champion and mini boss combatants and 14% less chain reaction damage to ultra and vehicle combatants. So overall, guys, we have some absolutely massive winners of this change. You know, check your vaults if you have SMGs or auto rifles with these perks, and a few losers with hand cannons definitely being the most hit. Now keep in mind, they're still going to melt miners with these explosions just as fast. Now, moving on from there, champion interaction changes. They say with Season 20, we added the ability for subclass verbs, ignition, jolt, suppression, etc. to stun champions, and have since added these verbs to weapon traits and various exotic weapons through rebalances. We quickly realized these weapons had issued when paired with anti-champion effects from sources like Artifact or Radiant. To prevent erratic behavior, we barred certain exotics from gaining external anti-champion capabilities. It has become unclear to the player which exotic weapons are excluded, so we decided to address this issue formally. We have now made certain exotic weapons, most of which applied a subclass verb through gameplay, intrinsically anti-champion and will adhere to the following soft rule from now on. Weapons that intrinsically have the anti-champion symbol in the weapon tray cannot receive the anti-champion capabilities from the artifact or from Radiant-like effects. Otherwise, they can receive external anti-champion capabilities. Alright, so moving on from there, we have exotic weapon buffs and nerfs. First of all, the Vigilance Wing. Last Stand bonus is now active when running solo PvE activities. Okay. Then the Hierarchy of Needs. Players now gain charges of Guidance Ring with any hit from Hierarchy of Needs, and now only need 3 charges to deploy the ring. Hierarchy's spawned Guidance Ring duration increased from 13 seconds to 20 seconds. The spawned Guidance Ring now rotates to face its owner, and players are now limited to 1 Guidance Ring in the world per player. Spawning a second one will remove the previous one. All bows now spawn missiles when fired through an allied player's guidance ring. Yes, all bows. Oh my goodness. Fix an issue where the hierarchy's seeker missiles would not play the detonation visual effects when colliding with world geometry. So they just turned the hierarchy of needs into the Galahorn for bows. So if you're shooting a Leviathan's Breath through someone's hierarchy of needs like circle, it now gets rockets, and potentially those rockets would scale with the damage of the bow. This could be very interesting. Moving on from there, Dead Man's Tale. Each stack of Cranial Spike now grants 3.4% damage versus combatants, max 17% at 5 stacks, plus 1 rounds reloaded. And then the Duality, they've added a secondary activator for on black wings. It now gives the buff when landing most of your pellets on a target, so easier to activate. The Navigator, so when the user has Woven Mail, they've increased the damage plus 25% in PvE and plus 5% in PvP, okay? And they've increased the ammo generation stat, so big buff for the Navigator there. And the Wicked Implement, so now is rapid fire rounds per minute, okay? It now takes 1 additional hit to start slowing and to freeze to account for the faster rate of fire. They've increased the mag size to 20, and it's now intrinsically anti-overload. Very interesting there. Some people really like the Wicked Implement. It is crazy good for stasis debuffs, so yeah, could be really good now. Heart Shadow, they've increased the ammo reserves, they've reduced the cost to heavy attack to 3 from 4, and they've added defeats while shot in the dark is active, make you invisible once more. Okay, moving on from there, Worldline 0. They've increased the lunge distance of the heavy Tesseract attack by 3 meters. They've removed the ability to chain 2 blink attacks back to back, and they've added a new effect. Defeating a target with the Tesseract allows you to Tesseract again for a short duration. These extra blink attacks cost less ammo and consumes less guard. Interesting. Then for Devil's Ruin. So, they've removed the fire on release behavior. The beam is now behind a special reload. Kills with the weapon make fire sprites, and picking up a fire sprite enables the special reload. Okay. Beam now scorches on hit and ignites on kills. Increase the magazine size to 20, it's now intrinsically unstoppable. They just completely changed the Devil's Ruin. I really don't know what to make of it, but certainly like scorching on hit and igniting on kills is actually kind of crazy. Then you've got the Tommy's Matchbook. So in general, they've added a burning screen effect while the player takes self-damage from Ignition Trigger. Other players who are taking self-damage from Ignition Trigger now have a burning effect surrounding their model. The Ignition Trigger. The HUD buff now appears as a bar. While Ignition Trigger is active, the bar charges as you fire the weapon and drains when you don't. So as long as the bar has some charge, Ignition Trigger will remain active. So for Heatsink, hipfire damage decreased to 50% less damage than ADS. Self-damage, previously 33% less damage. For the Catalyst, they've removed improved health regen. Now Final Blows, while Ignition Trigger is active, grant cure ×1 to the user. Scorch on hit is unchanged. Very interesting. Some people really like the Tommy's Matchbook, so like really interesting change there. The Winter Bite. They've reduced enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. This is to account for this now being able to receive melee damage bonuses from a bunch of other sources, and it's now intrinsically anti-overload. Anti-champion changes. So what's getting anti-unstoppable? Queensbreaker, Salvation's Grip, Dragon's Breath, Anti-Overload, Tractor Cannon, Darcy, Two-Tailed Fox, and the conditional finality can be Anti-Overload or Anti-Unstoppable depending on which element is active. Interesting. So they say regarding PvP, for those of you looking for PvP tuning numbers, we're aware of the math in terms of balancing around fixed health values and the new weapon stat damage bonus. We have our finger on the trigger and are aimed at a number of targets, but we want to make sure the weapons and perks we choose to tune actually become balance issues. So I think they're saying like, we're not going to preemptively nerf, we're going to see how it plays out. So going to be crazy. So next up, Bungie talks about power in the Edge of Fate. With the reimagining of Destiny 2's core game experience comes a refreshed version of player power. We're overhauling how you earn power and what it means to your journey across the season to be a more meaningful experience. We've also removed weekly barriers and are giving you more agency in choosing how you want to level up. Earning power will be more intuitive than ever before, with most activities even offering a reward forecast that enables you to plan your rewards, increase your power by overcoming greater challenges, and earn higher tiers of both armor and weapons that come with additional stats and benefits. Then you have refreshing power. The first thing you'll notice when you log into the Edge of Fate is a power refresh. Power inflation over the years has created huge numbers that can be confusing and unintuitive, particularly for new and returning players. When the Edge of Fate releases on July 15th, power will be refreshed to start at 10 for a much cleaner and more intuitive experience. Legacy power will still be visible on the power tooltip, shown when you hover over your power number on your character screen if you want to know what your power would be in the old system. Then you have the power band. So the updated power band from 10 to 200, power will work as it traditionally did when playing in the previous soft cap. So you'll see progress just by finding gear across whatever you're playing, from the new Edge of Fate expansion to PvP, patrolling, etc. Playing activities on the portal will offer increased progression, while completing missions and finding secret chests in the Fate Saga expansions will offer the fastest progression. Lots of activity content will exist in the power band, including the entire Edge of Fate expansion pack, event activities, all legacy content, even the new redacted raid. And that is huge news for prep guys, and they continue. While these activities won't ask you to earn more than 200 power to play at max effectiveness, so there you go, don't need to go above 200 for the day one raid, they may offer rewards above 200 when played at harder difficulties. More on that later. They say, during the climb to the power cap of 200, you'll be able to earn tier 1, tier 2, and even occasional tier 3 drops. This gear is as strong as legendary or even adept weapons from before the Edge of Fate. Your progress up to the power cap will also stick around into the new season when Destiny 2 Renegades launches in December, giving you consistent access to gear as strong as, or even better than, what you're used to, as well as tons of activities to play. Then you have seasonal bonus power. So up to 200 is kind of the power cap, the soft cap. Then you have the seasonal bonus power. So they say, since Shadow Keep, the seasonal artifact has offered a way to increase your power above the power cap through artifact bonus power. While it was a great way to get an advantage in high power activities, it wasn't consistent with finding new, better gear. Driven instead by XP, it incentivized behaviors like bounty farming that didn't quite focus on overcoming new and greater challenges. In the Edge of Fate, seasonal bonus power will now live right on your weapons and armor instead of the seasonal artifact. By overcoming harder challenges in PvE as customized by you, or challenging yourself in competitive and trials PvP, you can earn gear with greater amounts of seasonal bonus power that will increase your level beyond the power cap. So we see an example of this right here, hovering over their power 300, so they're 200 max plus 100 seasonal bonus power. Now, Bungie continues, there are no longer weekly limits on how much progress you can earn either, so your power can climb for as long as you want to play. Just like artifact bonus power before it, the seasonal bonus power levels are limited to the current season, and any weapons or armor above the power cap will be back to 200 at the start of the next season. So we have, again, another example of this right here with the last Thursday new pulse rifle. You have the power being 200 plus 100 seasonal power, so it's 300 overall, guys. They then get to bonus power and rewards. As with the climb to the power cap of 200, increasing your power level further with the seasonal bonus power, you'll be able to earn even higher tiers of armor and weapons with even greater benefits. When the Edge of Fate launches, you'll be able to increase your power as much as a total of 450. Earning high enough grades from portal activities can give consistent growth all the way to 400. Total power 400 to 450 rewards will come from newly upgraded Prime engrams, which drop both a higher power and higher gear tier than your regular rewards. Achieving higher grades in portal activities improves your chances of finding Prime engrams, which are also no longer limited by week. With the Ash and Iron major update later this season, you'll be able to earn power all the way to 550. Regular rewards from portal activities will be able to drop up to 500 total power, and the Prime engram situation will get you to the hard cap of 550. Those who reach 500 power will be rewarded with regular drops of the highest tier of weapons and armor, tier 5. This gear comes with both unique aesthetic qualities and the highest stats, so being able to consistently farm them will be an aspirational journey for the most ambitious Guardians. And make sure to regularly check what's going on in the portal. Challenges on the seasonal hub page and events will both be a great way to get some power progression, guys. So already some big stuff here, but we continue with Infusion. So Infusion is a great way to increase the power of your favorite items, but needing a constant supply of upgrade modules to do it was a hassle. We're simplifying Infusion to instead use enhancement cores directly, so you no longer need to make constant trips to Banshee. Any upgrade modules you have in your inventory at the start of the Edge of Fate can be safely dismantled to reclaim 5,000 Glimmer and 1 enhancement core, the same price that Banshee 44 and 801 sold them for. So they then say you can infuse levels of seasonal bonus power into your favorite gear using a new currency called Unstable Cores. While you'll find unstable cores from a variety of sources, the primary way to acquire them is by dismantling unneeded gear that has seasonal power bonus levels. The higher the bonus power of the item you dismantle, the greater the number of unstable cores you'll receive. Likewise, infusing items with a larger difference in bonus power will take more unstable cores. Unstable cores will have a large inventory cap and will be refreshed at the start of the next season alongside bonus power. Oh man, so that is going to be a massively controversial change, guys. So now, if you want to upgrade anything above 200 power, you need these unstable cores, but you do get them just from dismantling anything that dropped above 200. So you get to 200, you go and play a random portal activity, you're probably going to get something like 201, 202, right? And so, you know, you might not need to infuse that. Let's say you already have a 202 bond, you don't need this other one, you delete it, and then you're going to get unstable cores. So just naturally in the process of deleting a lot of the gear you get, you're going to be supplied with a pretty decent amount of unstable cores, at least in the future. It might be rough when you're initially leveling up where everything is advancing you, that you're like, I can't delete stuff. Like, I have nothing to be able to infuse this helmet with my new better helmet. Like, I need to delete my 205 helmet to infuse my 203 helmet up, but like, I can't because that's the power jump I need, right? So yeah, big change, big change. Not sure about this one, guys, but we'll have to see how it works out. Certainly, upgrade modules and all that stuff was pretty annoying, so maybe this will be a better system, but got some worries about it. Moving on from there, quality of life. With the Edge of Fate, the power climb should be more intuitive than ever before. Seasonal bonus power offers a refreshed player journey for the highest tiers of gear every season while keeping numbers understandable and meaningful. The reward forecast for many activities will preview exactly what power your reward will be when you reach the target score. With the new core game modifier system, you can even curate what kind of challenge you're in for, allowing everyone's power journey to be uniquely tailored to how they want to play. Portal content will also feature new daily bonus focus rewards across PvE and PvP, which allow you to target earning power on gear for a specific slot that you might be missing to round out your average. both account-wide power progression and fireteam power introduced in the final shape will be sticking around as well, so your progress will carry over to all your characters and you can always play with your friends. So again, overall, really worried about like the specific unstable cores bonus, but let's be honest guys, getting rid of pinnacle rewards that would advance you, that were limited in scope and locked weekly, and now saying you can level up from whatever you want in the portal, that is a massive quality of life improvement. Like, it might just be actually so easy to level up now because literally anything you're doing in the portal, PvP, PvE, solo, fireteam, whatever, as long as you play it on a high enough difficulty, it will all level you up. There's no lockouts. You can play the same activity 100 times in a row. Every time you get drops, it will advance you. It might just overall be actually way easier to level up. We'll have to wait and see. Now, they then go into the economy updates in the Edge of Fate. So, in the Edge of Fate, we're taking a deep look at our core activities in-game economies and rebuilding them along with the rest of the game. Core game activities, so solo ops, fireteam ops, pinnacle ops, and crucible and trials of Osiris will be your primary sources of glimmer, strange coins, and masterwork materials. These rewards will scale alongside your gear with better rewards coming from higher difficulty content. So, as you can see below, a lot is changing with this release and will continue to evolve over the coming seasons based on your feedback and analytics. So, armor masterworking. Along with Armor 3.0, masterworking new pieces of armor will have their costs changed depending on the tier of the armor piece. In the Edge of Fate reveal stream, we mentioned that armor now drops with energy completely filled in, so players can begin to build craft immediately with armor mods. Masterworking armor is now focused on increasing stats. If you want to reach your full stat potential, you'll want to fully masterwork your armor. The higher the tier, the more it costs, and we want players to be able to engage with the masterwork system without them worrying about wasting materials on lower tier gear. Additionally, armor now has 5 masterwork levels rather than 10. So here's the table. At a gear tier of 1, here's the costs to infuse everything. So, you know, pretty darn low. Gear tier of 2, then you've got the gear tier of 3. Now we're getting more expensive. We're getting into enhancement prisms and ascendant shards. Gear tier of 4, and finally the gear tier of 5. Now it's going to be pretty expensive to get that tier 5 armor all the way up. Now for exotic armor, there's still 5 gear tiers and it's still going to cost ascendant shards all the same, guys. Moving on from there, destination materials. So they say, yeah, they're going away. So here's a list of materials that can be safely deleted after July 15th. All this stuff. So Master Rahul will no longer accept destination materials. They no longer have any value, guys. So we also have activity rewards changes. So Vanguard Ops Onslaught. The Brave Arsenal weapons will be moved to be part of Xur's wares. Interesting. Only the standard non-foil versions of these weapons will be available, and Zavala will no longer offer Onslaught attunement. Guys, last couple of weeks to get Onslaught stuff then if you haven't. Nightfalls. So Nightfall weapons are now legacy gear. Nightfall's loot pool will be updated to include all previous Nightfall weapons that have origin traits. Nightfall rewards are now on a knockout list until all Nightfall weapons have been unlocked. From then on, all Nightfall weapons will have a flat drop chance. Grandmaster Nightfalls no longer exist in this new world, as their purpose and function have been transferred to the portal screen with conquests. You'll still experience Grandmaster difficulty, just on other activities. Then we have Legacy Rituals, so Crucible, Gambit, Vanguard Ops. Activities that don't offer tiered gear required some adjustments in the new system. So the Ritual Reputation reward tracks are gone. Ritual engrams are gone. Legacy focusing remains, but costs have been updated with the new Ritual engrams. So Legacy armor, there you see the cost right there. Vendors and reputation rank tracks. When you start playing the Edge of Fate, you'll notice the vendor reputation system has been removed from vendors in the tower, with the exception of Hawthorne. This new approach comes hand in hand with a rebalance of rewards throughout the game. Without going into much detail, we can say that removing these reputation tracks allows us to be more rewarding with currencies and gear that drop from activities. With that in mind, here's the changes. So, Xur, a lot of changes here. Xur will not sell legendary armor in the Edge of Fate. All of Xur's legendary armors will be moved to Ada 1, where she will sell them for cosmetic purposes. Okay, Xur will now sell 2 exotic armor pieces per class per week. Oh, so doubling the amount of exotic armor you get. One will be from the existing pool of exotics that Xur has always sold. One will be from the Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, and Final Shape pools. Players must own the expansion these exotics are associated with in order to purchase them from Xur. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Xur will continue to sell catalysts, but they have been moved to the Strange Gear Offers submenu. Xur will sell exotic class items every week. Players will still need to acquire the class item through the Dual Destiny mission. Xur will sell 9 legendary weapons per week, 3 weapons per slot. Class-specific swords, which aren't class-specific anymore, are still in Xur's inventory but will not be available every week. Xur has had the Brave Arsenal weapons added to his inventory. That's kind of neat. Xur has had the Legacy, Nightfall, and Trials weapons added to his inventory. Rare chance at Adept weapons showing up. That's awesome. So, like, randomly, you're just going to be able to go to Xur and get, like, an old Adept Nightfall weapon with maybe a God roll. Could still, even in the new system, guys, even in the new tiering system, God rolls are still God rolls, right? The standard weapons will cost 47 strange coins, and adept weapons will cost 41 strange coins. Xur has had weapons from Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy added to his inventory. Rare chance at adept Heresy weapons, that's cool as well. Same costs there. Xur has had Legacy Comp Crucible weapons added to his inventory, and he will no longer sell Adept Nightfall Ciphers, all that stuff. So, actually kind of a cool Xur update. He does have the chance to sell, like, again, an old Crucible competitive weapon, an old Adept Nightfall weapon, so a chance for those really interesting weapons to be sold. Then for Ada 1, guys, she will be offering up to 20 Threader bounties per season per class. Ada's inventory of legacy armors has been expanded to include armors previously distributed via Xur, and you can see the cost right there. Ada will offer players who have made it to the tower for the first time in the Edge of Fate a bundle of exotic armor tokens that can be used to re-roll exotic armors. Players must have unlocked an item in collections before it's eligible for re-rolls on Ada 1. The tokens are a one-time offer. These offers will disappear from Ada once all tokens have been spent. No new armors will be added to this in the future. So basically, you can turn any exotic armor that you've gotten once before into the Armor 3.0 version, and you can pick what archetype it is. Like, so if you have Syntheseps for the Titan, right? Melee focused exotic, but they don't have a big strength spike, and you want a bunch of the melee stat for Armor 3.0 for the Edge of Fate, so you can get like 200 melee. You can go into the Ada 1 menu, go into Brawler and select Syntheseps, and you'll get a guaranteed Brawler archetype Synthos, which have a massive melee spike. They also talk about transmog. Bounties have been overhauled. Bounties for PvE that can be completed anywhere in PvE activities. They no longer have specific destinations. And for PvP, any PvP mode. Raid and dungeons unchanged. Moving on from there, Bungie the Gunsmith. The reputation rank reward track has gone. Bounties no longer provide gunsmith reputation. Dismantling gear no longer provides gunsmith reputation. Banshee will no longer sell upgrade modules. Gunsmith engrams have been removed. Legacy weapons will cost that much. Rahul. Cryptarch reputation ranks have been removed. So, new exotic armors in the Edge of Fate will be unlocked via completing the legendary campaign and not through Rahul unlocked per class. So there you go, guys. No need to stock up exotic engrams in prep for the next expansion because you're not going to be getting the new exotics through ranking up. They say novel focusing for exotic armors from past expansions will be available to players immediately. No need to decrypt engrams to unlock it. The cost remains the same for novel focusing. The focusing submenu has been reordered to put the most used screens up front. Then ghost mods. So as we enter the world of Armor 3.0, some of the ghost mods are being depreciated. So previous armor ghost mods, so resistance armor, etc., will be depreciated. They no longer make sense. So they will be replaced with a new set of armor ghost mods. So you have brawler focus instead of a certain stat. Some activity ghost mods will be depreciated. We plan to add new activity ghost mods in the future. Then you have Osiren ciphers and Nightfall ciphers. These will not have a use in the Edge of Fate, but they'll remain in your inventory. We're not deleting them. We have plans for them in Destiny 2 Renegades, and we'll tell you about the plans. All right, so I guess don't use them, don't delete them, save them for Renegades. So, Destiny 2 expansion open access. Do you have a few friends interested in Destiny but are hesitant to make the jump? Good news! Let them know about Destiny 2 Open Access. Starting July 8th, so next Tuesday, until July 22nd, all currently available Destiny 2 expansions, as well as all 3 episodes, will be available for free on all supported platforms. Wow, and the cherry on top, all of the currencies, gear, title, triumphs, and cosmetics earned during open access are yours to keep forever. Guys, I mean, that is actually pretty big. If you have any friends that are like hesitant, or maybe they quit for a while, tell them, hey, come back, go get some exotics, go do the exotic quests from all those different expansions you don't have, and even if you don't end up buying them, you get to keep those exotics forever. That's awesome. Moving on from there, guys, Bungie says it's almost Bungie Day. So we've covered some of our Bungie Day plans in partnership with the Bungie Foundation, but they also say we're partnering with the Twitch's Summer of Rewards campaign to bring you some fresh new emblems. So from 12 a.m. PT on July 7th, so Bungie Day, until July 15th, gifting a sub in the Destiny 2 category will receive the Pixel Perfect emblem, guys. So you can see right here, your boy is going to be doing a lot of streaming starting that final week, doing a bunch of prep. I gotta do a vault cleaning stream, still figuring out what I should do for, like, what do you guys think? 1 sub equals 1 deleted item? Or is that, I don't know about that, but I'm planning that out. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing. And also there's going to be a big sale from the Bungie store as well, guys. And finally, there you have it. Massive, massive weekly update this week. So many big changes in the Edge of Fate. What do you guys think? There's a ton of people that are split. Like, every time I ask that question, there's comments like, I'm super hyped, it seems really interesting, I'm excited to care about armor again. And then there's people being like, this is the laziest, crappiest expansion, Bungie has no idea what the player base wants, we don't want to turn into a ball. So yeah, people seem pretty divided over the Edge of Fate. Again, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. That is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.